So as you know, right, everything has changed. All markets have crashed. Companies are going bust. And for example, I'm at a gym. Well, I used to be at a gym membership, and it was £165 a month, right? Just imagine that no one can work. They're not getting as much money. They've got to save money. It means that the membership can't be 165 anymore. It's got to go down. For example, the iPhone has been selling at £1,000. Well, no one's been working, and no one's really got much money. So therefore, I think everything is going to drop. Food prices are going to drop, products are going to drop, everything has to drop to keep people able to pay, because otherwise they're going to be having the prices up there and no one's going to be able to afford it. So essentially everything's risen up, make the people more rich at the top. Now
Mm.
they're going to have to drop to kind of meet us halfway. Otherwise the gap is going to be so big that they're going to go bust. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm already seeing it a little bit where I'm living, where it's the gas prices are dropping. It used to be, 2.50, maybe $3 American dollars per gallon. Now it's down to, I think, $1.50 a gallon. So it's dropping quite a bit. We're definitely going to have to see something change with the way that we buy stuff. I mean, this is you see everybody now is doing things like DoorDash and Grubhub and things where you can deliver whatever you want to your front door. I don't think people are going to stop doing that. I think that's going to continue. So stores and wherever you're selling is going to have to drop just to keep people buying it.
Yeah, like now, because of what's happening in England, everyone's doing online delivery. And these people, most of them never did it before. They didn't understand it, never tried it. No reason for it or against it. It's just that they'd never had a reason to do it. And when they sort of think, okay, I can go on my phone, click, 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 add to basket, and then the guy turns up and puts them on your doorstep, you're going to think, why the fuck would I ever walk around the supermarket for 3 hours, put it in the car, grab it back from the car? It's a whole
Right.
day out. Why would you ever do that? And yeah,
Right.
supermarkets are going to be affected. And it's like so many people where I live opening up barbers and like car washing services where you've got like five people washing your car for like $10, right, or £10. Eventually it's gonna have to go down to £9 to £8 because everyone else around us is also trying to compete. And they've like got like the petrol stations, you've all got to match the price or get lower. Eventually everyone's going to be doing it for like $1 or for £1, and things like an iPhone won't be worth fucking 20 quid because everything's just going to be so reduced. And then capitalism just disappears.
That's true. I mean, that could very well happen. But again, it could happen the other way, where well, we're charging this, then the other company sees, oh, they're getting away with charging that. I'm going to charge that minus a couple cents or a couple, quid or whatever. So it's the way the kind of the gas prices as well. To bring that up again, if you have two gas stations right across the street from each other, one is selling for 250, another one's selling it for 249. If the one company sees, oh, they can get away for selling it for 250, I'm going to sell it for 250. So it could go either way. I really hope it does go down though, because a lot of families really need it to go down because a lot of people are out of work right now.
That's the thing, right? As you probably know, if you change the system to benefit the little man, everything changes because it's built that way. So it's all good wanting like more money and corporations to reduce everything. But the reality is that if we have as much power or equal power as the people at the top, it unbalances everything. It changes governments, it changes everything. It's almost like wanting it's almost like wanting, you know what I mean? It's easier said than done. And I think that the only way around it is if each individual person takes responsibility for their own life and just does what they need to survive and forget about having the new iPhone, the new laptop, whatever. Just live your own independent life and like help out locally, trade with local people, look after your neighbor, love your family and stuff, and forget that this other big world exists because we only need money to buy things that cost money. And if all these other shit out there costs money, you're essentially working to pay for that. So just forget that exists, live local, and people will be so much happier just in a small little tribe community like it used to be.
Honestly, that would be pretty damn cool. I mean, yeah, we invented money. Like human beings invented money. If we invented something, we can take it away. Most of the world's problems revolves around money. So I mean, if we get rid of that, I mean, sure, we might not be able to, take a cruise or something one day. We're not maybe able to take that big vacation or something like that. But we'll definitely live. We'll definitely probably live better. Probably live with a lot less stress and worry. So, I mean, you're talking about a utopian society, and to get that, you have to convince a lot of people, the people that make the decisions, to make the big decisions. You have to convince all of them to start hating money, which is a little difficult to do. So it might be a little pie in the sky dream, but it's a nice dream, and I'd like to live in that world someday.
Two questions, right? What happens to drug cartels if money is taken away? Because you can't like get them to give you a bag of coke, and then what are you going to do in return? Give them a banana, give them a carrot, clean their shoes. Like, what happens when you take money away? Do drug cartels go bust? Like, think about it. What happens?
That's a good question. I don't know. Um, what do you do when you have a big drug empire? If you have a big, if your job is to sell anything from weed to heroin, and you're in the business of making money, what do you do? Like, what do you if money's all of a sudden not an issue anymore? Do you just give it away? Like there has to be some kind of barter system for that. I don't know what you would trade for heroin, but
What does a drug lord want in return for a bag of
right.
weed?
I don't know, man. What happens to the sex workers out there? All the prostitutes. What happens to them? Can you trade prostitutes for heroin? Is that
Who
like the new
pays
normal?
who pays the wages of his men outside the front with a gun? Like, who
Right,
does that?
right. Yeah. How loyal is that guy now?
Yeah, you give me your wife for half an hour, I'll watch your back for half an hour.
That's what it would come to, probably.
Literally.
There'd still be a seedy underbelly.
Yeah. Cryptocurrency, right? So this
Hmm.
this is a fine example of cryptocurrency, right? Imagine that the dollars and the pound or whatever, the usual currencies have gone because of everything just crashing, right?
Hmm.
Cryptocurrency, weirdly enough, as the economy has gone down, cryptocurrency it did drop massively, but it's kind of stabilized and it was starting to go up as the economy was going down. So what does that say? It says that we need the economy for money, but crypto, we can just trade in our own little currency. So that's what happens in like shares. You buy when it's up. Sorry, you buy when it's low because somebody's sold, and then you buy it, and then it goes up, and then someone else sells. It's like this: you cash in, I cash out. You cash in, I cash out, and everyone is making money in crypto in their own little way. So, I don't think that there's going to be like one main cryptocurrency in terms of the next online cash, but you can see how crypto is functioning. Like you can see what happens because now we don't rely on the banks and the governments. We can literally trade ourselves and still get equivalent to cash. That's never happened before. You've always had
No.
like dollar, yen, pound. Now you've got fucking so many currencies, and then obviously not currencies, but in terms of trading something to make money, it was only normally like pound or dollar or euro. Now it's like Litecoin, Bitcoin, XRP. It is very interesting. And especially when you can trade and take euros around the world and dollars around the world and put it into cash. That is
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah. It's very interesting, actually. Like, what happens to that next? Like, where is because that's not going to stay down forever. So what happens after that? I've never traded anything. I've never been a part of the stock market at all. I didn't invest in Bitcoin when everybody told me to invest in Bitcoin. So I don't really know. I don't really know much about it.
How
You know
much
what
would you have bought it for?
I mean? I don't know. I'm kind of dumb when it comes to that stuff. So if somebody told me it was $100, I just would have paid $100, like if I really thought it was. If someone, I had no idea what it was worth. I
So
Going back, I probably would have paid more because that was what 3 years ago. Bitcoin turned around and was like, oh, this is actually something important now. So it's kind of like the same with going back to the '80s and investing in Apple. You know what I mean? Like, how much would you put in? You put everything in because you know how huge it is.
So this is the thing. I think Bitcoin is essentially Usain Bolt, right? Usain Bolt's the
Mm-hmm.
fastest man on the planet, gets all the attention, right? But then you know that eventually he's gonna have to retire, and there's gonna be another young person chasing him and wanting to get his spotlight. So never back the Usain Bolt once you know about him. You back him before you know about him. You need to back the horses that you can't see behind that you know are going to catch up, and they're going to be ahead. So rather than backing Bitcoin, you back you like Ethereum and Litecoin. You look at businesses, you look at leaders, you look at companies and CEOs. There's always the chain of CEO or president, and then the vice president or the one below. They're always trying to get that position. Now, it's inevitable that vice president at some point, and the one below will try and get that position or be given that position. So always back the underdog. They all say in races and horse betting and stuff, back the underdog. Don't back the one that's supposed to win, because you're doing that based on past statistics, which means he was already won like 3 times, for example, for those stats to be there. But everyone in front eventually has their peak and then they fall. So back the horse behind, who's now got 3 chances to be at the top, as opposed to backing the one who's been at the top 3 times, knowing that he's probably gonna be on his way out. Because think about how many major races, how many like big tournaments footballers play. It's pretty much a few. Like, you're lucky if someone in a boxing career goes to the Olympics once or twice, a 100-meter sprinter once or twice, because it's every 4 years. So you hit your peak, you ride it a little bit and you go down. Always back the underdog. So Bitcoin, it's not Bitcoin, it's the system of Bitcoin that has brought our attention to crypto, but it's Ethereum and Litecoin that is going to be the one that is cheap enough to buy, and it's going to go up. Because I've studied these markets for a long time. They always go up and they always go down. So as long as you buy when it's down, and you sell when it goes up, you'll always be in that flow. And there's always going to be people who just buy it when it's up rather than when it's down. And that's how you make your money, when you buy it when it's down. It has been going up and down. Like, when I heard about Litecoin about 4 years ago, it was £40. And then I sold it, went up to 700 quid. And I said to myself, I'm not making that mistake again. So I bought Litecoin again for £40 when it went down. When it's like 3 days before the market hit its very lowest, before it bounced up, I got in there.
Yeah. How much did you make off that?
I'm holding on to them. I think that crypto is something that it's almost like, back in the day, like Apple and Google and Microsoft. It's a long-term thing. I don't think we've even seen crypto's potential. Governments haven't even regulated it. And just imagine what happens when it's like drugs. If you can't beat the drugs, sell the drugs, legalize them if you lose control. So crypto, I think that early stages, it's not something that you want to be using to trade. If you want to make money through crypto, go to like the stocks and trade the Bitcoin, for example, rather than actually buying the coin. Whereas if you own the coin, hold on to it, because it's still got its time. I don't think Bitcoin is going to really do much. As I said, that's like the MySpace, and then Facebook comes and Instagram comes.
Right.
Don't back the MySpace. You want to back like the TikTok. You know what I mean? TikTok is the Litecoin.
Yeah, the whatever's the new thing coming in. You want to back that? I got you.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like. Go on.
I'm sorry. At what point do you sell? It's like, okay, that made a lot of money, or do you wait until it starts dropping down a little bit and then you sell?
So first, we've got to decide: am I going to be in it for the long run? In anything in life, okay? Is it for the long run or cash flow? You can't. Okay, you wish you sold, right? So in your mind, you say, is this the long or the short? If it's the long, you forget about it, okay? And then in time, you sort of look, is it likely to go up? Is it likely to go down? Sell some, keep hold of some. It could go up. What you sold, then buy more. Or if it goes down, then you've not sold everything, basically. So it's almost like you spend half, you invest half. You spend half, you invest half. Like the roulette. You put your money in, you put aside your profits, you pay your debts, and then the rest is profit. And as long as you play with the extra money, you'll always walk away with the money you walked in. So you'll always work out even. So in terms of crypto, what was the question?
At what point do you sell it?
I think that over time, you sell it gradually. You sell one, and it will either stay the same, in which case you've lost nothing. It will go up, in which case you thank yourself for holding on to it. If it goes down, it won't go down massively. Like a share in, say, Google won't go from like, say, 1,000 to 200 unless there's the coronavirus, right? It will always fluctuate, and you can see over time that it's starting to go down. And you sell a few, and then it will start to go up. So you kept some, so therefore you can kind of always fluctuate. And that's pretty much all you can do, because it's not guaranteed. It's like you go to the casino, you want to make money, but every time you make money, you go back to the casino and then you lose. So it's like you only win by going in once, cashing out, never going back. But you're always going to go back. But then, so you're never really spending the money. It becomes the casino that you're going there for, not for the money. So it's like, how do you invest in long-term shit if it's going to go up in long term? You can't cash out because it's going to go up. But then, does that make sense? So it's a mind issue of just kind of cashing out half, holding on, enjoying it, and investing the rest. But really, it's all come down to cash flow now. This long term shit, it's like you could fucking die tomorrow. No one's living in the now. It's like, well, when I
Right.
retire, I'll do this and I'll do that. It's like, mate, that's in 40 years. And when you retire, you'll be dead because your brain's dead from working for somebody. It's like, forget
Yeah.
long term. If you've got money, do it. But apart from that, it's all about cash flow. It's not about future. And I
Hmm.
actually decided last night to hold on to my crypto because I was
Yeah.
going to wait for it to sort of like go up a little bit, and then I realized if I want money, just get a fucking job. Hold on to it.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. So what if I'm just starting out? What should I invest in?
I think, for example, right, paintings. Okay, paintings. Paintings that are like limited edition. Paintings that the artist is the value, and obviously when the artist dies, the value always goes up, right? And because they're
Right.
not necessarily massive, they're not going to be that expensive, but in their community they'll always have a demand amongst their peers and fans and stuff. So paintings, things like a £2 million Bugatti Veyron that you put in a storage unit. Okay, again, it's not going to be practical to save up 2 million quid. And of course, for example, people have all these cars in garages. What happens in a few years' time when they make all cars electric? What happens to that 100 grand special edition Ferrari in the garage that you can't drive anymore? Now that's going to be worth fuck all. Like, it's been going up, going up hundreds of grands every year. But as soon as they said, say, for example, in England, they're going to ban all diesel and petrol cars in 20 years, everyone who's got their little special edition car, which is saving it for that auction, it's never going to happen unless you drive it around a
Right.
racetrack. But no one's going to fucking see it. So you're not going to spend £2 million on a car on a racetrack. So again, a painting that can always go on a wall. So I think that paintings. That's what Adolf Hitler did. He put all his money in paintings.
That's true. Yeah. That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. So yeah, paintings which no one's ever found. So somewhere they're buried somewhere under in a cave. There's like a four-sided cave. He's got like one on each wall
Yeah.
and a picture of himself looking at him. So yeah, probably best
Send,
not to invest in cars.
yeah.
Painting.
Paintings instead of cars. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That'll be my next move.
Um. So do you think that it's worth people making their own coin? Like, people sort of just think, oh, everyone else is making a coin and they buy a coin, but it's not as simple as that. It's a business model behind it. Like, it's a code behind it, a business model. You can't just create your own coin. Like, Trump made his coin. Okay, so Trump demand you buy the coin because it's Trump, but what's backing it? Nothing.
No, I'd say coins like that become worthless almost like the next year. Like it's not. They never go into circulation or anything like that. You know what I mean? They go into circulation, but nobody else. Like, you're not going to see people trading around bits of Trump coin in like 5 years. You know what I mean? Instead of money.
Do you think that I think everything's going to become Amazon? So do you think Amazon's going to have their own currency where you just go into everything's going to be Amazon, like everything? So like you just pay with your Amazon currency, almost like a gift voucher. That's, I don't know, like £1,000 or whatever. But you trade in Amazon currency. So you buy something, they pay you in their Amazon kind of currency. Do you reckon can you see that happening? Because they own everything. They're taking over the world.
Maybe eventually. I don't think we would see that in our lifetime. I mean, it's like Disney. Disney's buying up pretty much every major network or whatever, every major property. Um, Eventually, I can see Disney owning everything, but I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime.
What? So Disney owns a lot of physical stuff outside of.
I mean, like properties like Fox and Marvel and stuff like that. People are saying that that they're just going to continue buying and buying, buying. I heard that they're going after Sony. Some people say that they already own a part of Sony. Eventually they could go after Warner Brothers and all these different cable networks and into wrestling, into boxing, into everything. They could just own a little tiny piece of everything and just become, you know, this big. I mean, they're already a big giant conglomerate, but I mean, you know, Disney would practically rule the world. Everything would be kind of under that Disney banner. You know what I mean?
So they bought Fox and Rupert Murdoch.
No, wait, Rupert Murdoch. Wait, what are you saying?
Rupert Murdoch owns Fox News, the
Right.
Fox network. So you
But
mean
no,
that they bought the whole of Fox or just the Fox movie side?
I think it was the Fox movie side. I thought, I don't know. I might be wrong about that. Now that you're questioning me, now it sounds like I'm wrong. But
No, they could have just bought the movie Fox because it's all different companies anyway owned by him. But they didn't buy Fox News, for example.
I don't think they own Fox News, no. But I mean, like stuff that the Fox network, like The Simpsons. I know that they own The Simpsons. You know what I mean? Like for a year, The Simpsons was just on Fox, the network. You know.
That comes down to power. It's not money anymore. You've got plenty of money. How much fucking money do you need? What's the difference between 900 million and 800 million? It's just sitting in the bank. And the interest on that's going to be phenomenal. So it comes down to power and greed. Like, I want more. Again, it's like when you get a girlfriend, you want another one because you got what you want. Our human brain is constantly wanting something else. Like, it's just animal nature. It's just how it is. I've noticed that we are no different to animals. We find a mate, we move on. An acorn will make a tree, and it will grow another 5 trees from its acorns. And it's like, well, were you not happy with one tree? Why do you need another, another 5 trees? It just seems to be the thing. Like, you get used to that energy, and therefore that energy is now within you rather than outside of you. So now it becomes you. And now it's like, well, what next? And it's just part of evolution. Like the planets, they're always attracting and orbiting. We're no different. So men always wanting a new girl, that's just natural. Marriage is not natural. Man signing into law that you've got to be with this one person forever when all the other animals are mating millions of times. It's just not realistic.
I agree. It definitely is a power thing because you take something like Google. Google is huge. Google, like you're not going to throw Bing into the conversation or any other search engine. It's just going to be Google. So then Google turns around and buys YouTube. So now YouTube is owned by Google. Oh, why? Well, you didn't have enough money to begin with. No, it was just so nobody else can have that little piece. You know what I mean? Like nobody else can have that power.
Yeah, it's like, and also it's because you know that your competition eventually might catch up. So if you eat your competition, there is no competition. That's kind of, if it's not about power, it's about who's the biggest threat. You got to take them out before they take you out. So that's understandable. That's business smart. But for example, when you own all your competition and you start just buying more, like I'm going to buy a bloody Hilton hotel, and it's like, what does that have to do? What does films have to do with a hotel? Then it's like power.
Yeah.
But Jeff Bezos is unstoppable. Like, he's so smart. It's not just about power. He's not doing it for the power. He's doing it because if he doesn't do it, somebody else will, and he'll lose his empire. But yeah, which I do think is smart for him, but not necessarily smart for everything else, because little people just, there's no point even starting up a little shop anymore because Amazon can get it to every household in a click. So what's the point in fucking ordering this milk when it takes 3 days to come to me? People want it now.
Right. That's true. I mean, you have things like Grubhub and DoorDash and stuff like that where they'll deliver, like a local restaurant and stuff like that. But I mean, how long? Honestly, I could see Amazon doing something like that and putting those guys out of business. So who knows?
Literally, like they contract their drivers. What's the difference between Amazon doing Just Eat? Like, why isn't Amazon doing Just Eat? Because it's all contract work anyway. Doesn't even make sense. Like the people who contract the vans to do the deliveries, they could just use the vans for just it. Like I'm sure he's got this planned, but I don't understand why he's not got there eventually. Like eventually it'll be Amazon, Amazon. I don't know, not deliveries because they already do that, but Amazon takeaways or something.
Right. Yeah.
They get all the contracts. Every restaurant will work with Amazon.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not happening already. To be honest with you.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon happens when the poles reverse in terms of technology?
Oh, God, I don't know. That's Gosh, that's more of a science question. I have no idea.
What the shit do you think about them whilst you're taking the shit?
That's why I bring my phone in with me. I don't, so I don't have to think about that kind of stuff. When the poles reverse, gosh, I don't know, man. I mean, it that could be. Again, I'm not the scientist guy, so I don't know. Like, anything could happen at that point. We could see like a complete outage, like completely lose, uh, but not necessarily electricity, but like the way that we view things with like internet stuff like that. You know what I mean? Um, Other than that, I don't know. We could experience a total blackout. I mean, I'm not the science guy. I don't really know. I know
That's,
that people keep on saying that it's not going to happen anytime soon. That's what I keep on hearing.
that's one way to localize everything. No technology to call Amazon. I have to go to my local shop who didn't open because Amazon didn't, took over. So it's like, fuck, I needed him. Who's got a cow? I need some milk for my cornflakes. Go around trying to find a cow.
We
Can
needed
I
that
just
guy. Damn it.
can I just squeeze your tit for some milk? Okay. So no, seriously, but what type of stuff do you think about? Like
um,
thoughts, like just
not too. I don't get like super deep into anything. Like I try and stay away from that kind of stuff because I used to get like really into that. Like what happens after we die? What happens?
what do you think happens
All that
after you
kind of
die?
stuff. I go back and forth. I was raised Catholic. I was raised to believe that if you're a good person, you go up to heaven and everything. All that other stuff. Now I'm smarter, I guess. Not to put anybody down, but like yeah, I just feel like there's more to a human being than just the flesh and bone part. There's a consciousness that goes along with that, and once we shuffle loose this mortal coil, what happens after that? Um, I kind of liken it to a I don't know, like if you have like an aerosol can and you spray that aerosol can on the ground, you see like a line of like you see like a damp line. Eventually that evaporates. So I'm thinking maybe something along the lines of you have like a spirit that's kind of out there in the world, but it doesn't stay forever. Eventually it just kind of flutters away. It kind of disappears. It kind of goes off into the atmosphere. If
What
that
you are
makes any
talking
kind of
about
sense.
is a fart in the wind, right?
Well, yeah, essentially,
You
we're off.
you smell that fart very, very strongly once it's sort of just there, once it's happened, right? But eventually, over time, that wind will disperse the fart, like pissing in a pool. You see all the yellow, and then it sort of starts to go translucent, like your
There
spirit
you
thing.
go.
It's there, it's strong, and then eventually, just like the particles get attracted by other spirits and energies out there, and they match the same energies. Yeah, absolutely. I used to think that there was afterlife and reincarnation until I realized that reincarnation is where you come back. Well, in order to have memories are in the brain, which means that if you remember a past life or a future life, whatever, you essentially are that person because you are that brain, which means that when your body dies, that cannot happen because the memories are in the brain. So therefore,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be frequencies and vibrations of somebody else's thoughts you are picking up, or for example, that dead person. So the spirit, when you leave it, is made up of thoughts and energy. And then when that body dies, that energy is still there. Right, like when you spray a can on the floor, you see the mist. It's still there, but essentially the can isn't there, right? And so anyone else can sort of smell that deodorant. Anyone else can tune into those thoughts and frequencies, but it's not that there's an afterlife or past life. It's the fact that we are a frequency ourselves, and the person who died before us was a vibration and a frequency. As we evolve, our frequency gets higher, which means we can tune into past frequencies, but not future frequencies, because we're tuning into that person's energy and thoughts that he was made up before he left. So you can tune into that person, which is called, for example, a past life, but it wasn't you were that person in the past life. It's just you're tuning into his thoughts and vibrations because everything just keeps recycling and churning around. Everything's all connected. which is why some people have like the feeling of that young boy is my dead husband when she's like 90 years old, because when the husband died, say 5 years ago, that child was born 5 years ago. So at the same time of when he died, that frequency is say 4.9. When that child is born, the universe energy gives him 4.9 as well at the same time that person died. So it's like this crossover. And this old lady's like, you know, how do you know all this stuff? Well, when he was born, he was frequency 4.9, which means you can tune into the person who died at 4.9, like a walkie talkie. You both go on channel 5, you can communicate. But if you switch to channel 6, you can't. And when that person's born, he's tuning into that person's energy. As he gets older, his energy increases to say 5, which isn't 4.9 anymore. So that phase of knowing this war story or whatever, which only the grandma knew or the old lady knew because it was her husband, it doesn't exist. And often when you get older, you speak to these kids and they're like, remember when you were speaking about those war things with that person? And he doesn't have a clue what he's on about because it was just the energy flowing through him. And if you look at it like that, if there's no afterlife and past life because you kind of debunked what it is, there's no reincarnation, in my opinion. Because reincarnation is the memories of something in the body, and the body died.
Right. So there's no memories. None of your memories are still there, so it's not technically you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, memories are in the brain, and the brain dies. But
Yeah.
our energy is made up of our feelings and thoughts, which was from the body. So now you're left with like a vibration. Like a happy kid has a high energy, and therefore that energy is still going to be there when his body dies, but it won't increase anymore. It will just sort of stay there. It won't disperse. It will just stay there. That's why they say you can feel the presence or the spirit of somebody. And then somebody else comes along at that time where that person died. They are now the same frequency because you died at that frequency in terms of the universe. And now that person comes along, you are that frequency and you sort of just continue. So now that energy tracks to that thing. It just attracts, like, it goes together. So now that newborn is essentially the same energy as the old born. And then you just keep going through life. It just, everything keeps going. But in terms of being in a past life, no, it's the opposite. And this is something I've only worked out. I don't think that anyone really have this explanation because I'd spend a lot of time questioning everything, working this shit out. I did believe in reincarnation. I believed in afterlife, ghosts and spirits, and I kept questioning my knowledge, and I debunked myself to the point where I can't go back because I haven't got the answers to sort of find loopholes in my theory. You know what I mean? No one ever knows. It's just like unless you can prove otherwise, you just sort of presume it's what it is until someone comes up like Einstein says, no, relativity is not this, and then Newton's like, actually, this. Unless somebody questions Newton, it's like, well, I guess I can't come up with another answer. You must be right. And then Einstein dies, and then it's like, well, who's going to challenge Newton?
Very true, man. So that's my theory. Is you're just kind of like you're out there in the world until you're not anymore.
Essentially, it's just you're here, then you die. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And
pretty much.
Life. You're still living this life. Like, why the fuck would you want to go to a restaurant and suddenly think about going to the next week's restaurant? You were at the Chinese. Forget the Indian next week. Enjoy the Chinese.
Enjoy
you know
the
what I mean?
Chinese food.
It's like you might not make Indian. So if there is a life, past life, fantastic. Enjoy right now. This life is complicated enough or good enough. I'd say just enjoy now.
Yeah, it's a good point. Enjoy what you got while you got it.
I see you're drinking Diet Coke. What's your thoughts on Coke Zero as opposed to Diet Coke? What's the fucking difference?
The taste, pretty much. That's the only thing. Like, you read the nutrition facts on the side and you see zeros all down, and you're like, what the hell's the difference? If you like the taste of regular Coca-Cola, get Coke Zero, and then it'll be, just no calories and all that fun stuff. But Diet Coke, I like the taste better. That's literally the only reason I drink Diet Coke instead of Coke Zero.
Do you think that water is a lot healthier than orange juice?
I don't know. It depends on where you're getting your orange juice from, I guess.
An orange tree.
Yeah. If you're actually like squeezing it from an orange, then probably the orange juice is healthier, most likely. If you're getting it from a bottle in a store, then no, I don't think so.
That's 70% concentrated and full of other shit.
Right.
I find it fascinating, right? How you put orange squash in a drink and it tastes good, right? But you put pure orange juice in water and it seems so weak. And it's like, well, it shouldn't be like that because if it's concentrated, it's technically stronger. But yet you put water with like orange juice and it doesn't taste anything like orange squash, which shows you that it's just all the sugar in squash that makes you familiar with that taste. Because I've tried like pure orange juice in like water. It's just not the same. You might
No.
as well just have orange juice.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah,
Do
it's
you
the
think
sugar that we're craving, man. It's that I don't know, whatever that little thing in our brain that makes us want sugar, that sweet side. That's what we're after.
you know those flies that get taken over by a parasite and that the parasite takes them to water so the parasite can breed? Have you seen those documentaries?
I've heard of that. Yeah, I've seen little clips on YouTube.
Well, yeah, that is incredible, right? How the parasite goes into the fly goes to the water, and then the parasite breeds in the water. Like, that's fucking amazing. Like, how can a parasite trick a fly into going
I
to the
know.
water? Like, what does it have to do? Does it whisper it to it? Does it, like, take control of that neuron in its brain to, like, what the fuck? Like, how?
Good question. Again, that's another science question that I have no idea how. But it's probably some kind of weird. I couldn't tell you how the human circulatory system works either, but I know that it does. I know that it's pumping out whatever it needs to pump out. So I'm thinking the same thing with the parasite, man. It's just some kind of weird programming that it just gets in there and, hey, please take me to water. Okay, says Mr. Fly. Let's break it down like that.
Let's talk about the struggles of children in the education system in the next generation and how fucked they all will be.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I think we were all pretty much fucked from the beginning. Like, you're talking about standardized testing and all that other stuff, man. Like, nobody taught, like, when I was in school, nobody taught me how to do my taxes. Nobody taught me how to save money or how to buy a house or how do you do anything that I actually need to do in this world. They were just like, no, you have to learn, you have to learn this math that you'll never use ever. You'll have to learn about the United States history. Why? I mean, back then we didn't know that we were going to have Google, but we do. And pretty much any answer to any of those questions that they asked me in school, I can look up. But I still don't really know how to do my taxes. I take it to an accountant. You know what I mean? And standardized testing, man, that's the shit that pisses me off. Like, you know, um, just like here's all this crap. You need to learn it. You need to sit down and you need to study and study and study and study so you can take this test. But once you pass this test, we don't care. We don't care anymore. You pass the test. So here, go on to the next grade and study for that test. And then once you're done with that test, you don't have to care about that anymore. By the time you get from like fifth grade to eighth grade or whatever beyond, you're not going to remember what you had back in science class in the fourth grade or whatever. So what's the point?
It's like being wrongly convicted as a killer, right? Because you had the same haircut. You're in the system. You've got to go through the system, no matter how long it takes. You've got to go through it, and it's the same for school. You have to go through it because that's just the way it is. Governments and like the system has created come from small tribes where one person was the leader, like an animal pack. There's always a lion that's the head of the pack that gets the food first, right? And then you have other lions trying to take them down. As I said about the Bitcoin thing, you'll always have another coin trying to come up, and Usain Bolt being taken over by another guy. But eventually, there's too many people, right, trying to take the job of the head of the pack. That the head of the pack needs more people around him. That becomes a government and the police. And as more humans evolve, you need more government, more police. So essentially, everything's only evolved from somebody wanting power of a small tribe, right? And it's got so big, and that system of you do this so I can manage this has it's become so outdated. There's so many humans on the planet. The system has been the same from we've gone from 8 billion humans, right? From let's just say I don't know 2 billion, say 50 years ago, but the system is still the same. It's like one president runs 300 million people, right? When presidency came into place, like all those years ago, it's put in like 2 million people. And so again, you're trying to have one man lead 300 million people. It's just not realistic. And if they all lived in the same place, well, everyone would have killed each other by now. It's only because it's all spread out that you can't see it. It's like if there was a group of lions and all the other lions from all the other kingdoms are in one place, that lion would lose his shit. But because all the other lions in like Africa and England and Mexico or whatever are so far away, this little lion illusionally has power amongst his other four lions because there's not enough people there to take them down. But when you put it all together, government would never work. It only works because everyone's spread out. System is outdated. Like you can't teach taxes in the school because the government and the lawyers and the accountants, they're all working together. You need to pay for somebody to teach you. So that means government wouldn't have any money if we taught them everything. It's just the way it is. And again, you're not going to beat the system. You just have to understand the system and find a way that works best for you. It doesn't matter who's in charge. There's no government. There's always going to be shit. If there's no government and police, everyone's fucked. If there is government and police, we are still fucked, but in different ways.
We're still fucked.
Yeah. So you just have to understand that, right? I'm a lion, okay, amongst loads of other lions. I happen to be smaller than the big lion. In a fight, I would lose. He then takes control and takes charge. That's just the way it is. There's always going to be one bigger lion or bigger animal, and there's always going to be loads of little animals. If you are the one who's bred from a mother who didn't mate with a big lion because she couldn't wait because she just wanted to be fucked, but she couldn't wait for the big lion to come along so her offspring would be bigger in size, then that's just tough shit. And that's just the way it is. You've got to live your life locally and just do what you can do locally. It's not going to change. People will try and change and put new next president and justices and causes and getting a law passed and can't have lions in cages and shit. Again, it's always going to be someone else. Always going to be another problem. As soon as you realise that, just fucking bake a cake and bring it round to your mate's house. Excuse me, would you like this cookie? Oh, that's really lovely, Mrs. Norman. How about I trade you my carrot for your lasagna? Oh, that's lovely. I like a good carrot. I bet you do, Mrs. Norman. Would you like me to peel it for you? Oh, yes, please. Right, bend over.
So it seems like we're, there's a voting system and all that other stuff, but it feels like we're either fucked or we're either slightly less fucked. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, without talking about politics, you can put that in. You can put that equation into everything in life.
Yeah.
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because it's just the way it is. Everything's made up of two, like negative and positive, black and white, sperm and the egg, black and white, yin and yang. Everything is made up of two things. It's not just one thing. Right. Dependency, independency. You're either independent and don't need anyone, or you're dependent and your brain can't be independent. You can't be independent and dependent. It's just not the way it is, because if you're independent, you depend on people. You are used to people doing it for you, or your brain won't use its own abilities. Again, if you eat too much, you wish you hadn't. And if you haven't got enough, you eat too much. It's just this balance of life isn't made from one thing. It's made from multiple, not necessarily dimensions, but it's made of so many different aspects. It's not just like get a job or don't, work for yourself or don't. It's a combination of, as you go through life, work for yourself when you can, depend when you can. If the paycheck is better, do that for now. If you're working for yourself and there's a demand for people cutting your grass, then do that. It's just like, it's not just get a job and that's it, and then the government won't help you because the job's gone bust. It's like, it's a flow, a constant shuffle. Like you're in the waves, you're surfing the waves, you're going up and you're going down. Bitcoin goes up, you sell it. If it goes down, you buy it. I mean, there's no rules to life. Strip it all back. We're just surviving in a system that we're used to. But at the end of the day, you're on your own. You're on your fucking own.
That's a sad truth, isn't it? That's a sad truth.
Yeah. People wait for government to get shit done, and the government is just doing their job. The system is what you need, and the system's constantly changing. So forget everything else. Just be independent. Grow your local vegetables. Yeah, you might not be able to have your favorite Thai curry because you need the supermarket to get certain spices, but you might have to have spaghetti bolognese because you can grow the carrots, you can grow the peppers, and you can probably grow some pasta. I mean, that's just a sacrifice of independence. And if you come across somebody who's a Filipino who's got some spices for your Thai curry, trade. Cut her lawn, take some paprika, you know, cut her hair. She can blow you off. Trade services, you know,
Yeah.
like your child wants to learn Chinese, paint the walls. That literally is going to happen where we're not going to pay in currency. It's going to be you do my nails, I will paint your fence. So close. It's happening right now. It literally is happening. Because, as I said, if all the petrol stations go down and all the hair barbers start to say, I'll cut your hair for, say, $5, everyone's going to go 4, 3, 2, 1. Eventually, it's going to be a pound and everything's going to be a fucking pound. So now it's, I'll just give you my dog bed for your dog. You know? It's going to be like that. If you need some milk, well, I'll just go to the farm and squeeze my cow's titty. And here's some milk. Want some cream? Come back in 5 days when it's matured. You want some yogurt? Come back in 3 months when it's all moldy.
I would love to live in a place like that, man. In a world like that where you don't have to worry about money. You can just live. You can just trade. You can just, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to work for you so I can get this. And then that'd be a great place to live, I think.
You know these films like, for example, I don't know if you've watched Ozark on Netflix.
I've seen it, yeah.
You know Ruth, the trailer park?
Yeah.
Well, to somebody who's got a big house and a big job and a BMW in finance, which they don't actually own, you think, wow, scummy trailer park. But actually, if you imagine when you're younger and you go to like a caravan park, like a resort, it's no different. It's fucking trailer. Yeah. So therefore, that lifestyle of just being secluded amongst nature in a caravan, you one person or two. You don't need a massive house. 50 Cent said he owns a 15 bed house and he doesn't know the last time he went down to the other part of his house. So again, thinking of that little trailer park or little underground bunker as a form of independent survival excites me so much. I'd love to live in a little caravan. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
You buy it 20 grand, you've got a house for life.
Yeah.
If it has if you can drive it, fantastic. If there's a storm, oh my, great, like the animals, fantastic. You don't need a big bloody house full of brick, and it costs that much because of the brick. Because the builder needs to make a profit, and the person he bought it from needs to make a profit. So therefore, everyone needs to make a profit. Just get a shitty little caravan, not shitty, just a caravan, right? Okay. And just buy some land and live on it. Yeah, exactly. Buy some land and live off it. Got to be smart. You look Albuquerque, like on Breaking Bad. You know when they go out there in their caravan and they start making meth?
Mm-hmm.
You look around, the sea and the nature, the sun, the mountains, the desert. No one's there. Scary if you suddenly become ill, no doctor nearby, but that must be freeing, just seeing that nature.
I would like to do that one day. I would like to drive out there, or I would love to see the Grand Canyon, just to see the I don't know, just that natural beauty. I live in a city. I never really get to see any of that.
Like a road trip, you just need to hire an RV. Like even if you don't buy it, just get a second-hand one or rent it for like a week, and just sort of hire a driver, to drive, and you can just look out the window, play your poker in the back, and then as you're driving along from LA to Vegas, which I did when I was 18, you just see desert and nature and grass. It's just nothing. It's truly amazing.
Yeah.
These days everyone's on their phone, so they're not really looking out. Like it's like, okay, well, I'm going from LA to Vegas. I'll just watch Netflix until I get there because Vegas is the trip. No, Vegas isn't the trip. That's the destination. It's over. It's the 3 days prior of looking out and stopping off at a little Waffle House along the way and a little McDonald's. It's like, oh my God, this McDonald's does this types of cheeseburger. My McDonald's doesn't. And it's like, honestly, so many McDonald's have different types of foods. It's crazy. I thought they just sell burgers. You go to another one, like a Singapore McDonald's, they've got this like 4 burgers in one. Like, what the fuck?
Interesting. I never see that.
Yeah, literally. There's so many different McDonald's that have different food. It's like clothes. You don't sell clothes in a place. You don't sell shorts in a place where, for example, Topshop Alaska. You don't sell shorts there because it's cold. But in Topshop LA, you don't sell, for example, joggers, for example, you sell shorts. So each McDonald's is a business and it caters for what people want. But yeah, you'd be surprised how many McDonald's sell different food. Like you think there's just McChicken nuggets and burgers. No, you go to another place, there's so much shit. Like you'll be surprised. McDonald's do lamb, like spag bowl.
Oh man, what was the question? I got lost there for a second.
Like life just being independent, like buying land and
Oh yeah,
living in
that's right.
what you would call a shitty trailer, but actually you can do that trailer up really nice, and it's no different to the inside of your brick house. Apart from it's not made of brick, it's metal, but they don't need anything else.
Plus, you can go anywhere if you get like a little like an RV or whatever. Wherever you're living, if you're living in a mobile home, you don't have to stay in one place, which is great. If you're living off the land, if you're not tied down to a job, or you don't have like immediate family in the area or people that you need to be there for to take care of, or that you can't live without, you can travel around. You don't have to stay in your hometown or whatever. You can go across country. You can go wherever you want, and you don't have to stay there when you get there either. That's the beauty of it. And you get to see whatever's out there. I mean, you get to see it. So it's not a bad idea.
Just think about how much tax it costs, like council tax. I don't know whether you have that out there, but taxes to own a house, and there's so many taxes. Tax of this, tax of that, tax have your bin outside, tax of your fucking grass, tax of the bin man. So much nonsense, right? And before you've even like got the house, you haven't even got enough money to pay for all this shit. It's like just keep it simple. 20 grand for an RV, you've got that for life. You may have to move on every time the police turn up and be like, hey, are you sleeping in this on the side of the road? It's like, sir, I was actually just having a quick nap, but I'm on my way.
Yeah.
You've been there for like 5 years, but it's like, I've just had a nap. I've just been a long journey. I've just had a quick nap.
That's all it is.
But you have a good day. Thank you. Okay, so do you want to like plug anything before
yeah, I got a few things.
narrows to an end? Any shit you plug in podcast?
Yeah. Well, I film a bunch of independent wrestling here in America, and I put it up on my YouTube channel. It's tinyurl.com/YouTube Rick Connor. It's CONNOR. Or you can just go to YouTube and type that in, and you'll see my logo and stuff. I've got another podcast that I do with Corey Castle, who I believe was a guest of yours. It's called Wrestle Rock. It's all about wrestling. So if you're into wrestling, you're going to be into me.
It's so interesting because you look like a wrestler. You look like one. Is it that you've adapted to what they look like, or is it that because you look like one, you focused on it and then you became a wrestler? Like which way is it?
I became a wrestler first, and then I got the look down. Then I grew the hair out, and I got the shoulders and everything.
It's the typical Undertaker look, the long, like kind of greasy, laid back hair and the stubble. Yeah. But like when you land on your back, do you ever get like back injuries?
Not so much, because you kind of learn how to, just tuck your head, keep your shoulders in, don't hit your elbows, that sort of thing. If you're landing on concrete a bunch, then probably yeah. But the mat is inside the ring is not soft, but it's it's got some give to it, so you're not.
I got a question. The steel chairs, when you get them on the head, does that hurt? Is it made of steel or is it made from aluminium?
It's made of chair. It's made, it's a. Anytime you see a steel chair, that's what it is. It's not like a special chair that you use just for wrestling.
So it actually is like hitting you actually get hit on the head. Like that must cause severe brain damage.
It has in the past. In places like WWE, they outlaw that now. You can't hit people in the head anymore. You see a lot of people getting hit in the back, but after the whole Chris Benoit thing and a whole bunch of everything came down about concussions and stuff like that.
Hang on, what's the Chris Benoit thing? What happened at the Chris Benoit thing?
There was a wrestler named Chris Benoit in the WWE, and he, due to multiple concussions and mixed that with the steroid use, like his brain was so far gone, he snapped one day, killed his wife and son, and then himself. So that's when everybody started really looking into it. What is WWE doing, how far into it do they go with the actual pain, the actual getting hit in the head and stuff like that, and what do all these things go?
Wow, I
So they
remember him.
Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
There's a great series on YouTube right now, put out by Vice called Dark Side of the Ring, and they cover that entire thing. It's a really good series if you want to watch it.
Remember when Triple H hit somebody with a sledgehammer and he broke his back, like that thing, right? It's a sledgehammer.
No,
So what's that made from?
That's got like a kind of like a foam tip. Well, it depends on the sledgehammer, what you're doing with it. If you're just like wheeling back and cracking somebody with it, it has like a foam tip that's just kind of made to look real. But sometimes it's just like it's hard to do because I'm holding a phone. But if you have like a sledgehammer, you kind of cup the you'll see Triple H do it a lot. Kind of cup the head of it, and then he's not really hitting him with the sledgehammer. He's hitting him with his hand. So there's
How about a
tips and
ladder?
tricks and stuff.
How about a ladder to the face?
Yeah, ladders are real.
So literally, if you don't protect your face, and go under, it's gonna fucking kill you, basically.
Yeah, it's gonna bust your face open. Yeah.
And how about the corner stairs going up when you slam them into that? Is that real?
Yeah.
Is that metal?
A lot of the weapons. I mean, it's not like a solid steel, but it's all like that diamond plating and stuff like that. Yeah. If you see it, you'll see them if they take them apart. Every once in a while, they'll pull like the top of it off. If they hit somebody with, you can see that it's kind of like hollowed out, so it's not like a solid, big giant iron steps or anything like that.
And how about the cameras in the table? Well, they hit them on the head. Are the cameras real?
The cameras in the table.
See, you know where the referees are. They always take the cameras out.
So the big monitors. Yeah. Those are real. But again, that's like cup this and then try and protect your face and stuff like that. There's also the rule: if you're going to hit somebody in the head with anything, you have to hit them right here. This is the hardest part of your skull. So if you hit them back here, you can damage something. You can damage something. You can damage. This one is the hardest part of your skull. This is where you're going to get hit.
And the belts. Are the belts metal? What are they made from?
Yeah, it's like a I don't know the type of metal, but it's they're pretty solid. They're pretty heavy.
Okay, cool.
All these little tips and tricks of the ring.
Yeah, I'm going to stop this and say goodbye, right? So wait there.
All right.